Follow WKYT online at WKYT.com. Join the conversation on Twitter and become a part of the WKYT Facebook family.
The May primary is tomorrow, and right now voter turnout projections are expected to be low.
And President Obama and Senator Mitch McConnell are Washington's newest odd couple. Bill Bryant explains the reason behind the name in the bottom line.
Good evening. In a little more than 12 hours, the polls will open across Kentucky, and partisan voters will have a chance to decide nominees for statewide offices, including governor and lieutenant governor. Voting precincts will be open from 6 a.m. until 6 p.m. Projections have been for a low turnout of just around 10%. But Fayette County Clerk Don Blevins Jr. points out that it costs the same to hold a primary, whether the turnout is low or heavy, and he hopes people will exercise their right to vote.
You know, we put a lot of money into putting on an election. It's our God-given right and duty, in my opinion, to go to the polls. What I think is the main issue when we have a light turnout is we don't get the results that's the true will of the public. As we were discussing off camera, I believe that it can lead to random results in the election.
Blevins talks about voting in the full interview, available on demand at KentuckyNewsmakers.com. And of course, the most watched race tomorrow will be for the Republican nomination for governor. Polls show it tight. The latest WKYT Bluegrass poll conducted last week had Matt Bevin, James Comer, and Hal Heiner in a statistical tie. Will T. Scott was farther back. The poll also shows Democrat Jack Conway with a commanding lead for his party's nomination over Jeff Young and an early advantage over each of the Republicans. An attention-getting article in The Hill today calls President Obama and Senate Majority Leader of Kentucky Washington's new odd couple. It points out the president and senator have been saying nice things about each other and taking the same side on some issues, including trade. Some observers say it's in both of their interests, as Obama hopes to build on his legacy before leaving office, and McConnell hopes to improve the image of Republicans ahead of the 2016 elections. We'll be keeping track of voting trends on air and online during primary day tomorrow, and after the polls close, you can join us on WKYT.com for continuous coverage as results roll in. Bill Bryant, WKYT.
The Kentucky Board of Education is asking the public to help decide what to look for in a new state education commissioner.
You may recall that Commissioner Terry Holliday announced back in April that he will retire August 31st, and now the board has come up with a list of characteristics to look for in Holliday's successor and wants the public to give feedback before the board finalizes that list. The public can comment and submit other feedback on the State Department's education website.
A sanitation worker says he was almost crushed by a garbage truck that rolled off the road down an embankment.
A new measure will allow pharmacists to sell anti-heroin medicine over the counter.
And something didn't look right to her. What this woman did that prevented her from losing a fortune to con men, coming up.
Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT News at 5:30.
Good afternoon to you. He says he was almost crushed by a garbage truck.
Tonight, a Garrett County sanitation worker is telling his story after the garbage truck he was on flipped and rolled down an embankment. It happened along Good Hope Road. The worker says he had to run up the embankment to keep from being pinned under the truck. Victor Puente's talking to the man in our top story at 5:30.
The man who was on the back of that truck tells me he feels pretty lucky that he didn't end up beneath it when it rolled off the road.
When it slid, it kind of just pushed me off to the side as I was coming, and it was coming right beside of me.
Willie Isaacs says his coworker was trying to give an oncoming vehicle room when their back tires went off the road. The truck followed.
I was on the back of it, and when he cut in right there, back end started going downhill because it dropped off and started sliding. I jumped off and run up the bank.
Isaacs says he was thrown onto the embankment, into the path of the rolling truck. He was able to make it up the bank and out of the way.
Kind of followed me because I was down there behind it trying to get up that bank, and that bank's wet and slick and muddy.
That other driver called 911. Cartersville firefighters had to cut the window to get the driver out.
I run up there and asked him if he was okay. He said I was for sure, and the next thing I know, he said his shoulder was hurting, and that's the only thing I knew.
Isaacs says he feels lucky to be alive and plans to spend the rest of his day finishing his garbage route. While that garbage truck appeared drivable once it was turned upright, The towing company still used a tow truck to guide it out of here. In Garrett County, Victor Puente, WKYT.
Kentucky Vehicle Enforcement tells us there will not be any charges or citations because of the crash.
2 of 4 people charged with killing a Madison County man in Clark County answer to the charges. An emotional Christy Mattingly and Don Attaway pled not guilty to charges this afternoon. Attaway is charged with murder, while Mattingly is charged with murder and attempted murder. Police say they, along with Kirk Garrett and Christopher Coleman, shot and killed Roy Combs. Combs was found last week near a rock quarry in Clark County. Garrett and Coleman were arrested in Columbus, Ohio, and are still waiting to be brought back to Kentucky.
The mother of a Louisville child who was dragged more than 100 feet by a school bus says her daughter is out of the hospital. The 7-year-old girl was pulled by a Jefferson County public school bus on Friday when her backpack became caught in the door. Now, police say the bus driver did not notice the girl was being dragged until a car behind the bus sped up with its horn blaring, causing the driver to stop. That driver has been suspended without pay pending an investigation.
That video is tough to watch. Well, some showers and storms will make their way across parts of the bluegrass.
Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey has an early look at that forecast. Maybe some rain tonight?
Yeah, a couple of scattered showers and storms showing up out there, guys. On Live First Alert Defender, it's kind of been the theme of the past weekend. We got the muggy air carrying over into this Monday, and yep, some scattered stuff showing up on Defender. First, let's show you some of the sky cams across the land. Mid and upper 70s, and it is muggy. 77 along the Mountain Parkway into Frankfort, 75 Richmond and Lexington. Some sun, some clouds, kind of fighting it out a little bit. Here's Live First Alert Defender. Scattered stuff now beginning to increase a little bit the farther south that we go. Not so much across the immediate Lexington metro. East side of Madison County over into northern Estill County, getting close to the Mountain Parkway corridor here from around Clay City over towards Stanton. Another little thunder shower popping up over Lee County. Notice the little increase now in the spotty action southern Kentucky. Corbin, Williamsburg, back over to Whitley City. But I'm going to focus on this thunderstorm complex that is growing and lifting its way on toward the northeast. So folks here in McCreary County into Whitley County, thunder and lightning going to really increase over the next 10-15 minutes or so from southwest to northeast. We'll keep an eye on that particular storm. For the rest of the area, again, some scattered stuff. Everybody with the muggy mid and the upper 70s showing up as of now. When I come back in a little bit, focus of the forecast is on some cooler air that will follow the storms. We'll track it with the hour-by-hour forecast, guys.
All right, Chris, thank you. A dog is recovering after police say he was found with his legs tied together and his mouth bound shut. Our county-by-county coverage at 5:30 begins in Anderson County. According to the rescue group Arrow Fund, Bailey, a chocolate lab, was found tied up. Once Bailey got to the vet, they found burns on the inside of its mouth. The vet believes that before he was tied up, a caustic material was put in his mouth. The animal rescue group says Bailey is being treated and should be okay. The case has been sent on to the Anderson Humane Society. No one has been arrested. In Grant County, police are trying to track down a man wanted for an armed robbery. Dry Ridge police say it happened this morning around 9 at the dollar store on Warsaw Avenue. Police have released these surveillance pictures of the man accused of robbing the store. We're told the man is about 5'5" and was armed with a knife. In Whitley County, 2 men have been arrested after police say they were seen stealing from a church. The sheriff's office says 35-year-old William Veach and 35-year-old Terry Holt tried to take metal from an air conditioner at Frankfort Baptist Church in the Bee Creek area. Veach was later found and arrested in the Canadatown community. Holt turned himself into police. Both men have been charged with criminal mischief.
The summer driving season will ramp up next week, and police in Scott County are taking steps to make sure it gets off to a safe start. In addition to Georgetown police, officers from Mount Sterling, Bourbon County, Paris, and other departments put together a checkpoint at Highway 25 and Lexington Road. It's part of a national effort to crack down on driving violations before the Memorial Day weekend. Police there tell us today's checkpoint was not solely about collecting citations and tickets.
It is mostly about education. More education than it is about citing people. We find that the checkpoints really raises awareness, and we're looking for seatbelt compliance.
In addition to wearing your seatbelt, officers suggest you check to make sure you also have your driver's license, your registration, and proof of insurance on you, and just in case you are stopped.
It is meant to help save the life of someone suffering from an overdose. A new regulation in Kentucky will let pharmacists sell Narcan, which reverses the effects of a heroin overdose over the counter. Sam Smith tells us how people will be able to get the medicine. It's a story that's new at 5:30.
Lawmakers say this emergency regulation gives more people access to the life-saving drug Narcan. The medicine counteracts the effects of heroin. The measure filed last week allows pharmacists the option to sell Narcan without a prescription.
But it's not as easy as just, say, going and picking up Tylenol or ibuprofen. It's going to be very similar to the process by which you pick up Sudafed, where you have to sign for it, get counseling for it.
In March, an anti-heroin bill was signed into law, offering more treatment options for users and tougher penalties for traffickers. It also gives local governments the option to set up needle exchange programs to stop the spread of bloodborne diseases.
And it's an opportunity to interfere or to intervene in a positive way to try to lead to better outcomes.
Heroin abuse is a battle being fought all over the country. These new measures are tools expected to help win the fight in Kentucky.
It's the equivalent of a life ring beside the pool. It's not going to prevent every drowning, but hopefully it can save lives so we can pull people out and maybe get them the help they need.
Now, in order for a pharmacy to sell Narcan over the counter, they'd have to come up with a policy, and that policy would have to be approved by a doctor. In Frankfort, Sam Smith, WKYT.
UK Healthcare will offer Narcan kits to patients treated for overdoses.
It's a popular ripoff that's scamming people out of millions and millions of dollars. But not everyone falls for it. We have the story tonight of one woman whose actions saved her from being a victim.
I received a card in the mail saying that I had won so many millions of dollars and there was a processing fee.
Sandra's flyer said she was a guaranteed cash prize winner. So she called and asked if she could pay the $25 processing fee with a money order, and she was told no.
And I said, well, if I've won the money, then take it off the back end. No, we have to have your Visa card or a credit card number. I said, I'm sorry, but I don't give that out.
She was wise. Once she got over the initial excitement, she realized the whole thing was a scam.
If you're dealing truly with $1 million, there's a representative from the company. It just didn't look right to me.
Postal inspectors say scams like this one are fleecing millions of Americans of their savings.
This is tens of millions of dollars, this industry is.
In this particular case, inspectors tracked down the commercial mailbox where payments could be sent. The investigation led to a suspect who owned 9 other commercial mailboxes being used for similar purposes. He quickly received a cease and desist letter.
It affords us the opportunity to have the operation shut down as soon as possible to avoid further people being victimized in this way.
Sandra admits the idea of winning a sweepstakes is exciting, but it really was too good to be true.
Most of us are over 65. And we're vulnerable because most of us are on fixed incomes. So a little extra money does look appealing.
A warning from postal inspectors: anytime a sweepstakes or lottery asks for a fee up front, it's a scam.